Beneath the crushing weight of the Atlantic lies a world that has remained untouched for more than a century. A world sealed behind collapsing walls, mineral-encrusted fixtures, and corridors so dark that even the faintest movement of water feels ancient. In the deepest parts of this forgotten realm are the elite wardrobes, private closets once belonging to the wealthiest passengers on board. What the cameras reveal inside them is nothing short of breathtaking. This is not a place of emptiness or abandonment. It is not a place where the world simply ended and vanished. Instead, this deck has become a vault of frozen moments, a silent record of luxury, identity, and the final hours of the people who once lived here. And as the camera moves forward, the first wardrobe emerges from the shadows. The tall metal door frame is warped from pressure. Mineral crust covers its edges. But inside the open wardrobe, something remarkable remains. The shapes of clothing, once fine and expensive, still cling to their hangers, transformed into hardened, ghostly silhouettes. The fabric is gone, replaced by mineral deposits that formed around the folds of dresses and suits. The details of collars, cuffs, and hems are still recognizable, preserved like underwater sculptures. The sight is hauntingly beautiful, astonishing proof of how the ocean reshaped luxury into stone. On the floor beneath the wardrobe sits a pair of skeletal feet, still positioned as if someone was standing here when the world changed. The bones are covered in delicate coral-like growth. Near them lie the mineralized remains of what were once expensive shoes, heels and toes, outlined by crusted deposits. The sight is not frightening, it is profoundly human, a reminder that these closets were once full of life, movement, and stories. The camera drifts deeper into the dressing space, revealing another wardrobe standing partially open. Inside, a long mineralized coat hangs like a fossil. The once rich fabric has vanished, but the folds remain frozen in place. A metal collar pin still clings to the upper section, encrusted yet intact. Beneath the coat, a small chest sits on the floor, its wood long gone, leaving only a metal frame filled with lumps of fused gemstones and corroded jewelry pieces. Rings and brooches, once colorful, now appear as shimmering clusters, wrapped in minerals. Their shapes remain unmistakable. A skeleton rests near this wardrobe, seated gently against the wall, knees bent, hands folded in its lap. Coral covers parts of the ribcage and spine in soft patterns. The posture feels peaceful, almost dignified. Everything in this chamber tells the same silent story. People trying to hold on to normalcy in a moment when nothing was normal. The camera moves into another section where elite wardrobes line the walls in perfect symmetry. Their doors have fallen open over the years, revealing astonishingly preserved artifacts. In one wardrobe, a row of mineralized dresses hangs shoulder to shoulder. The outlines of lace patterns, sleeves, and decorative pleats are all visible. They look like fragile statues made of crystallized ocean minerals. Beneath them lies a small pile of jewelry pieces, a necklace chain fused into one solid shape, a gemstone pendant barely recognizable, and a set of metal hairpins encrusted with delicate coral. In the wardrobe beside it, a gentleman's suit remains outlined in hardened mineral layers, from the jacket's lapels to the trouser's shape. A bow tie shape is still visible at the top, as if held in time. Below, a pair of dress shoes lies half buried in silt. Their soles are long gone, but the toe caps and heel frames remain, covered in layers of rust and barnacles. The camera moves on to another breathtaking discovery, an entire chest filled with accessories. Metal buckles, gemstone earrings, tie clips, cufflinks, pocket chains, and fragments of decorative brooches have fused into shimmering clusters. Some pieces still reflect faint metallic sheen, despite their decades underwater. Each one feels like a silent whisper from the past, a trace of style and an identity. Next, the camera enters a small private dressing room where the mineralized outlines of luxury garments hang from wall hooks. A long, elegant dress shape flows downward in hardened folds. Beside it hangs what was once a tailored coat, now transformed into a coral-coated sculpture. On the floor, a pair of heeled shoes sits side by side, filled with silt but perfectly positioned. A skeleton sits nearby on a fallen bench frame, one arm resting naturally on the metal seat. The quietness in the room feels overwhelming, as if time has held its breath. Farther along the deck, the camera reveals a breathtakingly preserved pair of wardrobes that once belonged to a wealthy couple. On one side, shaped mineral remains of gowns, shawls, and accessories. On the other, hardened outlines of suits, vests, and ties. At the foot of the wardrobes, 2 pairs of shoes rest untouched. Near them, 2 skeletons sit together against the wall, their positions natural and calm. They seem to be leaning gently toward one another. The sight is deeply moving, 2 people spending their final moments side by side. Moving deeper, the camera enters a grand dressing space with multiple wardrobes arranged like a private boutique. Inside them, accessories remain scattered and fused across the floor. Metal bracelets, gemstone hair combs, ornate belt buckles, and the mineralized shapes of handbags whose fabric dissolved long ago. Clusters of coral and rust cling to everything, transforming luxury into underwater art. In one wardrobe, the camera finds a row of jackets whose mineralized forms still show seams, pockets, and even button shapes. Below them sits a long chest with compartments filled with corroded jewelry, bracelets, pins, and tiaras, all fused into breathtaking formations. These items once sparkled in ballrooms and dining halls. Now they shimmer with coral and crystallized salt, preserved by the ocean in an entirely different kind of beauty. In the next room, the camera approaches what appears to be a dressing area reserved for social gatherings. The mineralized remains of feathered hats rest on wall hooks, feathers replaced by delicate branching coral structures. Nearby, a large necklace-like shape lies on the floor, its metal chain hardened into a crusty loop. A skeleton sits slumped in a chair frame nearby, ribs coated in clusters of white and orange mineral deposits. The contrast between human remains and luxury artifacts is haunting. Further ahead, the camera glides across a wardrobe filled with footwear. Dozens of shoes in various states of mineralization rest on slanted shelves. Heeled shoes, dress shoes, boots, and slippers, each frozen in time. Their shapes are intact, but their materials have long been replaced by rust, coral, and silt. The collection is astounding. It feels like discovering an underwater museum of early 20th century fashion. In another wardrobe, the camera reveals a row of hardened clothing folds that appear almost sculptural in their preservation. Here the garments were clearly packed tightly together, and the minerals hardened over them in thick, layered sheets. The textures are mesmerizing. Rippling patterns, fused seams, and mineral pockets resembling gemstones. The next space holds something even more extraordinary. A large wardrobe with a top shelf that still contains pieces of jewelry. Rings fused together in a cluster, large pendants covered in coral, layered chains hardened into a single mass. Each piece feels like a frozen fragment of history. No story is written. No explanation is needed. The items speak for themselves. As the camera continues, the structure becomes more damaged. Walls collapse inward. Wardrobe doors have fallen flat on the floor. Yet even here, the remains of luxury persist. A mineralized shawl shape clings to the wall. Below it, a skeleton lies on its side, one hand resting gently near a cluster of jewelry pieces. The scene feels almost staged by time itself, yet it is the natural result of heavy pressure, slow decay, and the ocean's relentless patience. Deeper still, the camera reaches one of the most breathtaking finds, a pair of elite traveling wardrobes, massive metal frame cabinets that once held entire outfits for long journeys. Their airtight compartments protected several items from total collapse. Inside them rest astonishingly detailed mineral outlines of dresses, waistcoats, hats, gloves, shoes, and layers upon layers of accessories. The shapes are ghostly but unmistakable, like underwater sculptures capturing a moment humans were never meant to see again. Across the room, another wardrobe reveals a stunning collection of mineralized jewelry. Large ornamental brooches, tiaras, and clip-on earrings lie fused into a single coral-covered mass.